Hello there, very good evening and welcome to the news tonight. I'm Tracy Shilchi and here are the headlines. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj reaffirms commitment to the Paris Climate Change Agreement, says India is willing to work beyond the pact to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Madras High Court extends the stay on floor tests in the Tamil Nadu Assembly, directs that no poll notification should be issued for the 18 Assembly seats that have fallen vacant due to the disqualification of rebel AIDMK MLAs. Road, rail and air traffic are severely affected in Mumbai due to heavy rains for the second day. Schools and colleges remain shut as the Met Department predicts more rain in the next 24 hours. And over 220 people are killed in 7.1 magnitude earthquake in Mexico. After the second earthquake in 2 weeks, government declares emergency in the affected areas. Military drafted in to help in with the response. Our top story, day 2 of the UNGA in New York was a day of back-to-back engagements and bilateral meets for External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj. At the CARICOM meeting with the Caribbean community, she announced an aid of $200,000 for the hurricane-hit region. She also called on world leaders to join hands to combat terrorism. Sushma Swaraj also met with the foreign ministers of Mexico, Belgium and Norway.
External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj has called for stronger collective action by the global community to combat the menace of terrorism. Speaking at the third India CARICOM ministerial meet on the sidelines of the UNGA, Sushma Swaraj announced an aid of $2 lakh to countries hit by the recent hurricanes. On day 2 of the UNGA, Sushma Swaraj also attended the non-aligned movement ministerial meeting on Palestine, where she reaffirmed India's support for the Palestinian people and the Palestinian cause. She said, and I quote, "It is a personal honor for me to be here today. India's support for the Palestinian people and the Palestinian cause is historical, going back to a period before our own independence. For independent India, support for the Palestinian cause has been a reference point of its foreign policy." Unquote.
We reiterated our commitment to the cause of Palestine and our solidarity with the Palestinian people.
Sushma Swaraj also participated in the Leadership Summit on Environment Pact, presided by French President Emmanuel Macron. Taking part in the UN Secretary-General's meeting of select countries on climate change, Sushma Swaraj said that India will continue to work on the subject above and beyond the Paris Agreement.
At the Leadership Summit on Environment Pact, which was presided by the President of France, we have said that India has been at the forefront of debate on environment and development. We have also mentioned that India and France are working together on International Solar Alliance. At the SG's meeting on climate change, we have said that India is willing to work above and beyond the Paris Agreement.
Sushma Swaraj held 3 bilateral meets on the sidelines of the second day of the UNGA. The External Affairs Minister met her Mexican counterpart Luis Vidaurre Caso and held discussions on areas of mutual interests. The Foreign Minister also met her Belgian counterpart Didier Reynders. Sushma Swaraj also held a bilateral meet with her Norwegian counterpart Borge Brende and discussed ways to boost collaboration between the two countries. She also met with the Prime Minister of Mauritius. During her week-long stay in the United States, External Affairs Minister is likely to attend as many as 20 bilateral and trilateral meetings with leaders attending the session. She is scheduled to address the UNGA on 23rd of September. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And as the world leaders came together for the 72nd session of the UN General Assembly, several important issues also came to the spotlight. US President Donald Trump's threats to decimate North Korea for its nuclear program has brought the Iran nuclear deal back into focus. Other issues, including the political crisis in the Gulf region, the situation between Israel and Palestine, were also discussed.
French President Emmanuel Macron hit out at US President Donald Trump, staunchly defending the Iran nuclear deal, saying that those who did not respect it were irresponsible. He said that renouncing the nuclear deal would be a grave error. Macron also said that he had conveyed this to Trump and Iranian President Hassan Rouhani when he met them on Monday.
Le dénoncer aujourd'hui, sans rien proposer d'autre, serait une lourde erreur. Ne pas le respecter serait irresponsable, parce que c'est un accord utile, essentiel à la paix, à l'heure où le risque d'une spirale infernale ne saurait être exclu. C'est ce que j'ai dit hier aux États-Unis et à l'Iran. Je souhaite pour ma part que nous complétions cet accord par un travail qui permettra d'encadrer l'activité balistique de l'Iran.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, however, said that the nuclear deal should either be changed to eliminate provisions that remove restrictions on Tehran's atomic program over time, or it should be cancelled.
Fixing the deal requires many things, among them inspecting military and any other site that is a suspect, and penalizing Iran for every violation. But above all, fixing the deal means getting rid of the sunset clause. And beyond fixing this bad deal, we must also stop Iran's development of ballistic missiles and roll back its growing aggression in the region.
The recent political crisis in the Gulf region also came up for discussion. Qatar's Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani renewed a call for unconditional dialogue to end the crisis that has pitted his country against 4 Arab states.
لقد قامت الدول التي فرضت الحصار الجائر على قطر بالتدخل في الشؤون الداخلية للدولة عبر الضغط على مدنيها بالغذاء والدواء وصلات الرحم لتغيير موقفهم السياسي لزعزعة الاستقرار في دولة ذات سيادة. أليس هذا أحد تعريفات الإرهاب؟
Among the other issues that were discussed was the Israel-Palestine issue. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi urged Palestinians to overcome their differences and be ready to coexist with each other and with Israelis. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, global leaders criticized Myanmar State Councillor Aung San Suu Kyi for not addressing allegations of ethnic cleansing in Rakhine State in Myanmar. In her State of the Union address on Tuesday, Suu Kyi refrained from naming the army for the violence in Rakhine. She did not mention the term Rohingya either throughout her 30-minute speech. In her defense, Suu Kyi said that she was in line with her government's view that the minority community in Rakhine consists of Bengalis or illegal immigrants from Bangladesh who settled in Myanmar in the 12th century. She also claimed that she did not intend to use emotive terms for an already affected population. Suu Kyi maintained that the friction between Muslims and other communities in Rakhine State have existed since the 19th century and restoring trust will take time.
There are those who want to call themselves Rohingya or who want to refer to the Muslims there as Rohingyas, and the Rakhines themselves will not use any term except Bengali, meaning to say that they're not really ethnic Rakhine. And I think that instead of using these emotive terms, these terms have become emotive and highly charged. It's better just to say Muslim, which is a description that nobody can deny. We are talking about the Muslim community in the Rakhine State, and other terms may be applied to that community, but I do not see any point in using terms that simply will inflame passions further.
Meanwhile, Bangladesh has called for greater international pressure on Myanmar to take back the Rohingya refugees, criticizing the Myanmar army's action. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina alleged that Myanmar was laying landmines along the border to prevent the Rohingyas from returning.
The international community, they are supporting us, and they also condemn the action of Myanmar government and the military. So what I want that international community should put pressure to Myanmar that they should take back their citizens, because they are their people. So why they should influx and they should leave their country.
We'll keep an eye out on the developing Rohingya situation and also get you more international stories in a bit. But first, in fact, let's head on to some more national news. And Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has said that a collective coordinated action is needed to strengthen the ecosystem for promoting SC and ST entrepreneurs in the country. He said this while addressing the National SC/ST Hub Confluence organized by the MSME Ministry in New Delhi on Tuesday. The Vice President said that the country will be developed only when the downtrodden and underprivileged sections are uplifted. He further said that we need to have an integrated, multidimensional developmental agenda for the country. He also said that setting up industries is important for the country's development and it can solve the unemployment problem and increase income.
Industry and agriculture are two eyes of Indian people. You need कृषि भी बहुत जरूरी है. Agriculture is our basic culture. साथ ही साथ industry also is required. Business also is required. Then only you can prosper. Then only you can progress. That's the lesson we have to learn. So we have to give importance to this. So merely giving reservation, merely giving admission in schools, or merely giving employment alone will not suffice. You have to focus, make extra effort on those vulnerable sections, on the suppressed and depressed, oppressed people who have been denied this opportunity. You must walk an extra mile and give them a helping hand to uplift them. Then only it's possible. Otherwise, disparities will increase further.
The Madras High Court on Wednesday said that the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister E. Palanisamy cannot seek a trust vote in the Assembly before the court decides on the status of the 18 rebel AIDMK lawmakers. They were disqualified by the Assembly Speaker this week. The directive comes as a relief for the rebel lawmakers and the opposition that had accused the ruling AIDMK of manufacturing majority by disqualifying the dissenting MLAs.
The Madras High Court on Wednesday extended its stay order on a floor test in Tamil Nadu Assembly till further directions. The court was hearing a petition filed by 18 AIADMK MLAs who moved court after Speaker P. Dhanpal disqualified them from the Assembly.
The Speaker in his order has stated that the seats will fall vacant. So the court has given an order stating that there will be no election notification for those seats which had fell vacant. So this is kind of a partial stay of the disqualification order by the Speaker. There is no opinion has been expressed by the judge. This has been a consent order. Both the parties have consented so that either of the parties should not be prejudiced. So this is a consent order and the status quo will be maintained. So unless the disqualification is decided, there will be no floor test.
The court also directed that no poll notification should be issued for the 18 assembly seats that have fallen vacant due to the disqualification of the dissident legislators. The disqualified MLAs say that the court order vindicates their stand as it has ensured that their seats are intact for now. The order also delays a victory for the Palanisamy government in a floor test in which it would have enjoyed an advantage. The next hearing has been scheduled for the 4th of October. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi today interacted with students at Princeton University in the United States. He said that people in democratic countries are frustrated over growing unemployment.
Days after admitting that the Congress lost the 2014 general elections as its leaders lost touch with people, Party Vice President Rahul Gandhi made another concession on Tuesday. Speaking at the Princeton University, Rahul said people in India are in pain over growing unemployment, and that is what led to the Congress losing to BJP in 2014. He, however, added that anger is building up against the BJP as well for their failure to create jobs.
Democratic countries are struggling to produce blue-collar jobs at the rate. That to me is a real problem. And that's a problem in the United States, it's a problem in India, it's a problem in Europe. You can go to any of these democratic countries and ask them and they'll tell you that yes, we're struggling to get the blue-collar jobs. You can't not have blue-collar jobs when you're a big country. You can do it when you're in Singapore, but if you're in India or you're in England or in America, you can't do it. And that gap is what is creating the churn in the politics in our countries, the sort of disaffection, the anger that you see.
During his interaction with students at the university, Rahul Gandhi also confessed that the Narendra Modi government's Make in India is one policy that he wished his party had introduced, although with tweaks.
I like the Make in India concept, but my view is that the targeting of the Make in India concept should be different. So Prime Minister feels that the targeting of the Make in India concept should be large businesses. I feel that the Make in India concept should be targeted towards small and medium businesses. So I feel that the problem is that not enough small and medium businesses.
Rahul's comments evoked multiple reactions back home.
कांग्रेस पार्टी की हार के बाद हताशा तो स्वाभाविक थी, लेकिन उसके बाद भी उनको जो है वो दशकों जो है उनको उनका राजनीतिक जो भविष्य है वो अंधकार में है। इसलिए कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि किस तरह से देश के प्रोग्रेस पर पलीता लगाओ, किस तरह से देश की छवि को पूरी दुनिया में नुकसान पहुंचाओ, किस तरह से देश के बारे में दुष्प्रचार का माहौल पैदा करो।
There are many people in this country who believe that intolerance has increased and that job creation has been below par. He is entitled to his opinion. After all, he is the leader of the opposition. But I would very humbly suggest that if these are burning issues, if he stayed longer in the country and dedicated himself to on-ground work in order to create a narrative against these developments, he would perhaps be contributing more to national politics.
Rahul Gandhi is on a 2-week tour of the United States, during which he's been interacting with policymakers, students and lawmakers. At a similar interactive session last week at the University of California, Berkeley, the Congress Vice President said he was absolutely ready to take up an executive role in the party. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
In more news, normal life was disrupted in Mumbai as heavy rains lashed the city for the second day today. The city has received over 300 millimeters of rain since yesterday, exceeding its monthly average rainfall by only 2 days. Meanwhile, heavy to very heavy rainfall accompanied by strong surface winds have been predicted for Odisha in the next 24 hours.
Road, rail and air traffic was severely affected as heavy rains lashed Mumbai for the second day on Wednesday. While no casualties were reported, several parts of the city, including South Mumbai, Borivali, Kandivali, Andheri and Banduk, received heavy rainfall. Schools and colleges in the city also remained shut. Observatories at Colaba and Santa Cruz recorded extremely heavy rain at 210 mm and 303 mm in the last 20 hours. As the Met Department predicted more rain in the next 24 hours, the city administration was put on high alert to deal with any eventuality.
Yesterday, Mumbai and suburban areas, heavy to very heavy rainfall occurred at a few places and extremely heavy rainfall occurred at 1 or 2 places. So now, we can say that it is because of a low pressure area formed in Bay of Bengal, and now it is over North Odisha and adjoining area. And another cyclonic circulation is there over North Madhya Maharashtra and adjoining area. This rainfall occurred due to the combined effect of these two systems. Now rainfall will decrease, but light to moderate rainfall will continue over Mumbai region.
Over 50 flights from Mumbai airport were diverted and 15 cancelled in the morning due to low visibility. While intercity trains connecting Mumbai with cities in Gujarat were cancelled, suburban trains were reported to be running late by 10 to 15 minutes. In an effort to streamline railway services, some short destination local trains were cancelled.
हेवी रेन की वजह से बहुत ट्रेन लेट है, तकरीबन मिनिमम एटलीस्ट 1.5 hours. बहुत प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है, पब्लिक को इतना प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है कि बहुत लोग काम पे भी नहीं जा सकते.
बारिश की वजह से बहुत तकलीफ हो रही है. काम को कहाँ भी देखो, स्कूल को भी छुट्टी हुई है, बच्चों की तकलीफ हो रही है, ट्रेन नहीं मिल रहा है, बारिश बहुत है, कल से ही बारिश बहुत चालू है.
जाने के वक्त बहुत दिक्कत हुई थी, 15-20 मिनट लेट था ट्रेन, उसकी वजह से पूरा बिक के गए, अभी बिक के आए.
दिक्कत तो बहुत हुई, रास्ते में पानी भर गया था, फिर खिड़की से घर में भी पानी आ रहा था और लाइट भी चली गई.
Tuesday's rain in Mumbai was the third highest downpour in a single day since 2005, when the city recorded 945 millimeters of rain, in which more than 500 people were killed. Last month, 14 people were killed as 316 mm rains lashed the city. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
On Wednesday, Rajya Sabha Secretariat organised a Kavi Sammelan competition for its employees. Rajya Sabha officials participated by reciting their own poems. Well-known poetess Anamika was the chief guest of the Kavi Sammelan. The event was organised to celebrate Hindi Pakhwada, which started on the 15th of September.
कविताओं का जो स्तर था वो बहुत उच्च कोटि का था. हमारे
निर्णायक मंडल ने भी उनको काफ़ी सराहा और इससे ये पता लगता है कि लोगों में हिंदी के प्रति उत्साह है, उसको आगे बढ़ाना चाहते हैं और इन कार्यक्रमों का प्रयोजन भी यही है.
And here are more national news updates in nationwide. Landslides triggered by rains killed 5 persons and injured 2 others in Sikkim today. SSP Pratap Pradhan said that a control room was set up at Namchi police station. District Collector South Raj Yadav said that the district administration has sought additional forces for search and rescue purposes. The district administration also evacuated families from vulnerable areas. The Punjab and Haryana High Court today refused to order a stay on the arrest of Rhine International School owners who are among the accused in the murder case of a Class 2 student of their school in the Gurugram branch. Pinto, Grace Pinto and Francis Pinto have been named in the murder of Class 2 student Prathaman Thakur. The Supreme Court today ended the old practice of allowing senior lawyers to mention cases seeking their out-of-turn listing and hearing. A bench headed by Chief Justice Deepak Mishra also made clear that from now only advocates on record will be authorized to mention cases for the out-of-turn hearing. The Home Ministry has given a final chance to IGNOU, Mumbai University and ICMR to retain their licenses to receive foreign funding if they disclose their annual income statements by the 18th of October after paying a penalty. These are among 4,842 institutes and organizations that have been granted permission to retain their Foreign Contribution Regulation Act or FCRA licenses. No organization is allowed to receive funds from abroad unless it is registered under the FCRA. Now to the top international story. And a strong 7.1 magnitude earthquake struck central Mexico on Tuesday night, killing at least 220 people. This is the second major earthquake to hit the country in 2 weeks. Here are more details. Panic, chaos and confusion returned to the streets of Mexico as yet another strong earthquake hit the central part of the country and caused massive devastation in the 3 towns of Mexico, Morelos and Puebla. Rescue crews and ordinary citizens worked through Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, searching through rubble for survivors as the death toll climbed over 200. Mexico City Mayor Miguel Ángel Mancera confirmed that buildings at 44 locations had collapsed or were badly damaged. These are said to include a 6-storied blocks of flats, a supermarket and a factory. President Enrique Pena Nieto addressed the nation late in the night, assuring all help to the victims. He also said that an emergency had been declared for the affected areas and the military was being drafted in to help with the response.
La prioridad en este momento es continuar el rescate de quienes aún se encuentran atrapados y dar atención médica a los heridos. Los servicios de urgencia del Seguro Social, ISSSTE, Pemex, la Secretaría de la Defensa Nacional.
In Mexico City, thousands of soldiers, rescuers and civilians, including college students, were working side by side to dig through tall piles of rubble from dozens of crumbled buildings. Power poles toppled in the quake have blocked streets and public transportation system was temporarily shut down. As many as 4.6 million homes, businesses and other facilities had lost electricity, including 40% of homes in Mexico City.
La gente nada más, yo veía cómo estaba muy alterada, algunos llorando, gritando, veía gente por aquí tirada, o sea, pero era tanto como que por los nervios y demás, o sea, colapsaron ellos mismos por tanto.
What I like is the fact that people is helping each other. I mean, in a situation like this, you gotta help each other. There is no other choice. I was working this morning, I was evacuated from the building, and I was walking by. So I saw that the help was needed, that's why I came over.
Mexico is prone to earthquakes, and earlier this month an 8.1 magnitude tremor in the south left at least 90 dead. Ironically, Tuesday's tremor struck shortly after many people had taken part in an earthquake drill exactly 32 years after a quake killed thousands in Mexico City. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. Meanwhile, Hurricane Maria, the second maximum strength storm to hit the Caribbean this month, made landfall as a strong Category 4 storm in southeast Puerto Rico. Earlier today, the storm battered the U.S. Virgin Island of St. Croix. This is said to be the strongest storm to hit the island in about 90 years. Here are more details. At landfall, Maria had sustained winds of 155 miles per hour, just 2 miles per hour short of Category 5 status. It was the first Category 4 hurricane to make landfall in Puerto Rico since 1932. Packing catastrophic winds and causing nearly 8 feet surges, the hurricane killed at least one person in the French territory of Guadeloupe and devastated the tiny island nation of Dominica. The French overseas territory of Martinique also felt the impact, though the island escaped largely unscathed. Flooded streets and scattered debris could be seen in the capital Port-au-Prince, with some local businesses showing signs of damage.
Dévasté, c'est la première fois que je vois Port-de-France dans cet état. C'est la surprise, mais bon, pas vraiment, on s'y attendait, vu la force des vents, la mer est déchaînée.
The storm is expected to bring up to 16 inches of rain to the US and British Virgin Islands and up to 25 inches to Puerto Rico, causing life-threatening flash floods and mudslides. Thousands of Puerto Ricans heeded the calls of government officials and have taken refuge in shelters. Various tourists and locals also took the last available flights to Miami in the US.
I'm trying to figure out where I was going to stay in Puerto Rico, and I think a lot of other people were in the same boat. I mean, you had everybody leaving from the BVI, people leaving from the USVI, but I'm glad to be in Miami now.
I evacuated on the Royal Caribbean cruise ship that picked us up, took us to San Juan, and I made it out of San Juan, Puerto Rico, just before the bad news that's coming from Hurricane Maria, Category 5.
While several countries continue to monitor the situation and support the hurricane's battered Caribbean countries, India too announced an emergency fund of $200,000 for the region.
The India CARICOM meeting, which was the third such meeting to be held, we announced an emergency aid of US $200,000 to countries which are affected by recent hurricanes in this region.
The Caribbean region was hit just days ago by Hurricane Irma, which ranked as the most powerful Atlantic storms on record. Irma devastated several small islands and caused heavy damage in Cuba and Florida, killing at least 84 people in the Caribbean and the US mainland. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. And finally, the Indian Cricket Board has nominated Mahendra Singh Dhoni for the country's highest civilian award, Padma Bhushan, for his contribution to the game. Dhoni has scored 9,737 runs in 302 ODIs, whereas in Test cricket he has scored 4,876 runs in 90 matches. He has also played 78 T20 internationals in which he has scored 1,212 runs. A senior BCCI official confirmed that the board only sent one name for the Padma Awards this year, and it was a unanimous decision to nominate MS Dhoni. If Dhoni is conferred with the Padma Bhushan, he will become the 11th Indian cricketer to get the third highest civilian honour. He has already received the prestigious Arjuna, Khel Ratna and Padma Shri award. Some of the notable international cricketers who have been the recipients of Padma Bhushan award are Sachin Tendulkar, Kapil Dev, Sunil Gavaskar, Rahul Dravid, Chandu Borde, Professor D.B. Deodhar, Colonel C.K. Naidu and Lala Amarnath. And with that, we have to wrap up the news tonight. Thank you so much for joining us.